chapter 3, text number 33. The chapter is titled Karma Yoga. Sadrisam chestate swasya prakriti jnanavan api prakritim yanti bhutani nigraha kim karishyati. Sadrisam chestate swasya prakriti jnanavan api prakritim yanti bhutani nigraha kim karishyati sadrisam chestate swasya prakriti jnanamanapi prakritim yanti bhutani nigraha kim karishyati. Anybody else wants to chant?
Sadrishyam cheshtade sasya prakrtirjanavanabi prakritim yanti bhutani nigraha kim karishyadi.
Sadrusham cheshtate swasya prakrutirjnanavanapi prakritim yanti bhutani nigraha kim karishyati.
Okay.
Sadrusham cheshthate swasya prakritir dhyanavanapi prakritim yanti bhutani nigraha kim karishyati.
Okay, word by word. Sadrisham, accordingly, chestate, tries, swasya, by his own, prakriti, modes of nature, jnanavan, learned, api, although, prakritim, nature, yanti, undergo, bhutani, all living entities, nigraha, repression, kim, what, karishyati, can do. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Swami Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Even a man of knowledge acts according to his own nature. For everyone follows the nature he has acquired from the three modes. What can repression accomplish? Let's just read the translation again. Even a man of knowledge acts according to his own nature. For everyone follows the nature he has acquired from the three modes. What can repression accomplish? Purpose. Unless one is situated on the transcendental platform of Krishna consciousness, he cannot get free from the influence of the modes of material nature, as it is confirmed by the Lord in the 7th chapter, 7:14. Therefore, even for the most highly educated person on the mundane plane, it is impossible to get out of the entanglement of Maya simply by theoretical knowledge or by separating the soul from the body. There are many so-called spiritualists who outwardly pose as advanced in the science, but inwardly or privately are completely under particular modes of nature, which they are unable to surpass. Academically, one may be very learned, but because of his long association with material nature, he is in bondage. Krishna consciousness helps one to get out of the material entanglement, even though one may be engaged in his prescribed duties in terms of material existence. Therefore, without being fully without being fully in Krishna consciousness, one should not give up his occupational duties. No one should suddenly give up his prescribed duties and become a so-called yogi or transcendentalist artificially. It is better to be situated in one's position and to try to attain Krishna consciousness under superior training. Thus, one may be freed from the clutches of Krishna's Maya. Om Agnanatimendasya Gyananjana Salakaya Chaksulmitan Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namah. Shri Chaitanya Manabhistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swamrupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Srijita Padakamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavanscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagana Raghunathavitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Shri Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakha Vitamsha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Nirmandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radhakanta Namastute Sapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Rishabhano Sute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Vansha Kalpatarubhasya Kripa Sindhu Bhayavacha Patitanam Pavane Bhayo Vaishnavi Bhayo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Sivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Sadrishyam Chistate Swasyaha Prakriti Jnanavanapi Prakritim Yanti Bhutani Nigraha Kim Karishyati. Even a man of knowledge acts according to his own nature, for everyone follows the nature he has acquired from the three modes. What can repression accomplish? Unless one is situated on the there you go. Hare Krishna. Jai. So here we see Lord Krishna is mentioning in the previous verse and in this verse that what if people would transgress your desire, right? They're influenced by these three modes of material nature, and they still carry out sinful activities. Don't they fear punishment from you? Just like a criminal is punished by a king. The Lord is a supreme king, and he has his entire governance. Right. Aham sarvasya prabhava mata sarvam pravartate is the source of all the material world and the spiritual world. Right. In the 7th chapter, he says, Tribhiguna Mahi Bhavai Evim Sarvam Idam Jagitam Mohitam Nami Janati Param Vayam. That these three modes of material nature I have created. And though I have created, I am inexhaustible. I do not come under the influence of that. The whole world is bewildered by these three modes of material nature. Right. And the purpose of Prabhupada mentions that even the learned, so-called learned, they are difficult for them to overcome the three modes of material nature. They come under the influence of the three modes of material nature. It's difficult for them to come out of this. Right? Here, the last line of these particular words, Nigraha kim karishati. Right? Repression, what can we do? How can, what can repression accomplish? It's difficult for them. They're completely in that impure stage. They're not able to come out of that. By performance of Niskam Karma Yoga, their heart may be purified, may become purified to such an extent, but still they won't be able to completely come out of the three modes of material nature. Right? Then they come to the Jnana Yoga platform. They further become purified, but still are under the clutches of the three modes of material nature. The only thing which can make them come out of the three modes of material nature is Bhakti Yoga, Krishna consciousness. Right? Otherwise, the whole world is bewildered by these three modes of material nature. But the person, like in the 7th chapter, it mentions, Daivi Hesha Gunamai, Mam Durakteya. My Maya, no, it's very difficult to overcome. But one who surrenders onto the Supreme Lord, for him it becomes easy for him to overcome. It is like, no, otherwise it is like a big ocean, Bhavasagar. It's very difficult for one to cross. But for one who has surrendered to the Supreme Lord, right, in Krishna consciousness, for him that entire ocean is like a water in the footprint of a calf. It's easy for him to overcome. Right? It's easy for him to overcome. So, only by Bhakti Yoga, only by performance of Bhakti Yoga, one is able to overcome these three modes of material nature. Otherwise, they go through this birth, death, old age, disease cycle, Janma, Mrityu, Jara, Vyadhi. Can somebody mute the line? Yeah. Yeah. So it's difficult for them to overcome. He cannot get free from the influence of the modes of material nature. Right. The only platform to be free from the modes of material nature is Krishna consciousness, the transcendental platform. The higher education, right, fails to help one to come out of the clutches of material existence, right? Because it's impossible to get out of the Maya. And what is Maya? It is Krishna's external energy. That's why the Lord says Maya. Krishna's external energy. Now for Krishna, there is no difference between the external energy and internal energy. Right? So Lord's energy is classified into three. Antarangi Shakti, internal energy, Bahirangi Shakti, which is external energy, and Tatastha Shakti. Right. So the living entity comes under the Tatastha Shakti. And Lord has given the living entity a minute independence, minute will. So they can either take shelter of the internal energy of the Supreme Lord or will come under the influence of the external energy, Bahirangi Shakti. of the Supreme Lord. So one who gets the mercy, right? One who gets the mercy of a devotee of a Supreme Lord, who comes to Krishna consciousness. We see, the example of this Mrigari, the hunter, right? He would half kill the animals, right? And would take pleasure in them going through this painful situation. When Narad Muni met Mrigari the hunter, and somehow, he said, why you are half killing them? Why inflicting so much pain on the animals? Oh, no, I'm the hunter. This is my occupation. Otherwise, how would I support, right? Where would I get food? So Narad Muni, guides him that, okay, you really want to do this occupation. Instead, why don't you take this occupation of just chanting the names of the Lord? Have this hermitage, you chant the names of the Lord, and automatically you'll get all the food. Right. And Narad Muni then leaves that particular place, and Mrigari the hunter, after getting the mercy of Narad Muni, he starts chanting the names of the Lord, that hermitage. Right. So much so that the villagers, when seeing the transformation, they start bringing all the foodstuffs to Mrigari the hunter. He did not have to starve. Right. So after some time, after a year or so, when Narad Muni, along with, I believe, Angira Muni, were passing by that particular place, they went to see Mrigari the hunter. And Mrigari the hunter, now completely transformed, was trying to run towards the sages, but at the same time was very cautious to, swipe away any, so that he does not kill any in the ants, any insects on the floor. Before, he didn't mind killing any animals and will inflict so much pain. Now he was so cautious that, oh, I don't want to even kill an ant unknowingly and step on it. That's the transformation which is brought by Krishna consciousness. And now the sages, Narad Muni and Angira Muni, saw that, oh, how he's so transformed now. Not ready to even kill ant. So that transformation comes in Krishna consciousness. Only through bhakti, one's impure state, one is able to purify himself and come up to all the way to the bhava stage. Right. But otherwise, even Niskam Karma Yoga or Jnana Yoga will purify him to a certain extent, but not completely bring him away from the clutches of the material nature. He will still be under the clutches of material nature. Right. So that's what is, and Srila Prabhupada again makes another point here, that till one comes to that particular stage, one should not give up one's occupational duty. Right? Arjuna wanted to give up fighting, renouncing the activity, renouncing his prescribed duty. So till one is not purified, one should not give up one's occupational duty. Right? Continue follow one's occupational duty. Right? And purify oneself before he gives up his occupational duty. Right? When his ultimate occupational duty becomes only the service of the Supreme Lord. Till that particular time, he needs to perform his occupational duty. He needs to perform his prescribed duties. Right? Yeah. Okay. Are there any questions?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Danda Pranam, all glories to Prabhupada.
Dharat Pranam.
I was listening about what you just said, Prabhuji, one should not give one's occupational duties.
Yeah.
So devotional service is the devotion one's occupational duty, as you said. But how we can equate this statement in this world today we are living in? At the time when people have practiced this, everything was kind of where ladies are the householders, like, housemakers, and the men used to go out. And how we can do this at this yuga?
So, the occupational duty, so our prescribed duty is okay. We act according to our varna and ashram. Right? Chaturvarnyam manasishtam guna karma vibhagasya. So we act according to our varna and ashram. So if we are doing a job according to our norms, okay, ashram we are in and varna we are in, accordingly we do that job. So the instruction which is given by the Supreme Lord is, do not give that up. Do not give up your prescribed duties. Like Arjuna wanted to give up, renounce his activities. He is a Kshatriya. So for a Kshatriya, the Lord is instructing him to fight. And Arjuna didn't want to fight because now he is pitted against his grandfather, his spiritual master. So he didn't want to fight this war. So Krishna is encouraging him to perform his prescribed duties, and he's telling him that till one purifies, one has to perform one's occupational duty. And by performing occupational duty, by performing his prescribed duties, one has to keep the Lord in the center to ultimately start purifying himself to come to that ultimate stage of focusing on the occupational duty, that his complete occupational duty is serving the Supreme Lord. Savai pumsha parodharma yato bhakti adok saje. Ahituki apratiyata means unalloyed, uninterrupted service to the Supreme Lord. Right now, we are not at that stage. So till we are not at that stage, one should not just artificially give it up. But that should be our goal. And one should steadily progress towards that goal. Otherwise, he will always remain under these three modes of material nature. So if we perform devotional service, right, as you mentioned, okay, we are doing so many other activities, fine. We cannot give up at this particular time, but okay, if initially if somebody is told that, okay, now you have to participate in a marathon, you have to run 20 miles or more, it will be difficult for him to run. So we have to gradually practice for that. Similarly, to come to full surrender to the Supreme Lord, one has to gradually practice. Okay, initially meditate for 5 minutes, 7 minutes a day, chant 1 round a day. Then expand that to come to 2 hours, right? 16 rounds a day. Then slowly and slowly expand to that extent, just like we see Haridas Thakur used to chant 192 rounds a day. Right. So how do we come to that stage? If I am told to chant 192 rounds, we won't be able to do that. But if we will remain at the same platform of not increasing it at each and every moment, like you introspectively look at yourself, look at how many rounds I'm chanting today. Have I increased it after 1 year? Otherwise, I would be rowing the boat with my anchor tied on the shore. Right, in form of our attachments, in form of so many things, will be still tied to the shore. So it's a gradual process. Initially, Krishna is encouraging him, do not give up your occupational duty, do not give up your prescribed duties to fight. So similarly, instructions for us, how do we take it is, we keep that as a goal, that ultimately we want to come to that stage. Right? Otherwise, people work throughout their life, they retire, they don't know what to do after retirement. But a Krishna conscious devotee, if he practices it regularly, then even if that bondage is gone of so-called job, this, that, then we'll still be able to function well of keeping Krishna in the center of our life and continuously serving him. Otherwise, we won't be able to even anticipate, how can I serve the Supreme Lord? Now, even in this modern day and age, those who have practiced, right, to that particular stage, they're able to serve in whatever ashram they may be in. As a brahmachari, they are able to serve full time. As a grahastha, they are able to serve full time. And the other stages also they are able to serve full time, the Supreme Lord, but not from the very start. They have to gradually practice. Does that answer your question, Mataji?
Yes, Prabhuji. Thank you. Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I was like in my thinking consciously and subconsciously when you're engaged in devotion, you're consciously fully present, doing your rounds, you're serving God, you're cooking, or when you're out, you're subconsciously you're thinking, but you're not there fully present. So do we also pray to the Lord that give us that kind of situation that we can fully serve you? I'm not saying we are running away from our duties. Is that a good way to even ask something like that to the Lord?
Well, ultimately, that should be our goal. Satatam kirtantamam yatantasya didavata, that okay, ultimately we want to come to that stage that it's 24 hours we just think of serving the Supreme Lord. Srila Prabhupada, we see his lifetime at 69 years of age with 3 heart attacks on the way to come here in a cargo ship. He was fully, otherwise, sat in Vrindavan. staying at Radha Damodar temple, right from his window, you could see Rupa Goswami Samadhi. So if he is worried about his only his Krishna consciousness, he was sad. But a Krishna conscious devotee then just does not worry about himself, but para upakar. Right? Para upakar. With so much hardships, he endured all those hardships just to spread Krishna consciousness, just to pass on the message of which he received, which he realized in his life to others, so that it can serve as, just like if some others are drowning in the ocean, it can serve as a life ring or safety net, where you hold that holy name and come out of the clutches of Maya. Otherwise, coming to the West, nobody would have heard about the Supreme Lord. Now we are able to meet here, come to the temple, hear about Krishna consciousness, by one person who endured all these hardships. Right. So consciously, we should be thinking that, okay, yeah, I'm not there at this particular moment, but I want to come to that stage. That Ante Narayan Smriti, that I am able to think of only the Supreme Lord. The Lord mentions Yam Yam Vapi Sman Bhava Tajatyante Kalevaram. Whatever state of consciousness one gets when he leaves his body, he will attain that particular stage. But how do we attain that state when at that time of death, so painful? You will be able to think about the Supreme Lord only if you have practiced through your life. So consciously we should think, not subconsciously. Consciously we should think that, my Lord, I'm not at that particular stage. Please guide me. Please help me to come to that stage. Right now I'm entangled by this network of senses, which are all path leading to death. Please guide me so that I can use that senses, same senses, in service of the Lord. Is that all right?
Oh, beautifully said, Prabhuji. When you were saying this, I was also repeating the words in front of Krishna. It's just in front of as you are saying a prayers, and as you are saying, I am hearing and also repeating the same thing and offering, telling, us, saying this the same thing. It's such a beautiful way that you said. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Anybody else has any questions, discussions?
Would you follow up to what you just said about subconscious and consciously thinking of Krishna?
Yeah.
Mataji's answer. Should it really matter? Because as long as the consciousness, so for example, she said that when we go to work, when we are chanting, we are actually making an effort to think of Krishna. How successful or how it all depends. Okay, that's okay. But when you're at work, you're thinking of other things.
Mm-hmm.
Or you're with your, you go for a family wedding or something. There are other things which are there.
Mm-hmm.
But if that work itself, if my consciousness is that I'm working for Krishna, then I don't necessarily have to be thinking of Krishna, because that work itself is seva.
Mm-hmm.
So when we are doing cooking for the deity, you're chopping the vegetable, maybe you'll get a thought that, oh wow, how Krishna will enjoy, how Gaur Nitai will enjoy, how Lord Jagannath will enjoy. That thought may come in. So we are little full of whatever it is. But then after that, we are cutting, and then the head cook is giving you instruction. We are listening. Okay, go put it on lower, whatever. So it's not all the time we are thinking, but still that is devotion, no Prabhu, subconsciously
Yeah.
happen. So where is the, he says, no, think of me, always think of me.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking the service medium also is a way of thinking for him, as long as the consciousness is, I'm doing it for Krishna and Krishna's.
Yeah. Very good. So, rightly said, no, means if we are in full consciousness that we are doing it for the Supreme Lord, right? We're in full consciousness that we are doing it for the Supreme Lord, then any activities which you perform where you are absorbed in the activity, because it is devotional service, that also purifies you, right? Just like you mentioned about cooking, the cook also has to be absorbed in cutting the vegetables to make sure that it takes out or the pot after a certain temperature and this, that, because what you're trying to do, you're using your skill set or you're using your activity to serve the Supreme Lord, that you want to make all these items that it comes completely well cooked so that you can offer it to the Supreme Lord. So subconsciously you will be thinking about the activity, fine, but at the same time, since you're doing it for the Supreme Lord, Arjuna is guiding Arjuna to fight. Now at fighting, he's not he's going to think about the Supreme Lord. He's going to fight. He'll focus on the his opponent, right? So he'll focus on all the arrangement and opponent, and these are so many things. He'll just focus on that. But since on the background, it is being done, I'm doing it for the Lord. Right. As you mentioned, when we are working, we just think about the work at that time. But the background, I'm working for the Lord. Then all the activities which you perform subsequently is for the Lord. Right? Iha yasya haridasya karmana manasya gira nikhalasu api avastasu jivan muktasya uchyate. With his mind, body and words is engaged in the service of the Lord. He's just then even if he's doing material activities, he is in a liberated stage. Right. Even he may be doing a material activity. Yeah, fine. But he's in the material world. He's performing that activity. But he, with mind, body, and words, so he's in a liberated stage. Right. So we should come to that first full surrender that I'm doing it for Krishna. And to not just be lip service, it should be, just like Srila Prabhupada mentioned the purpose, like a learned individual. Learned individual, he knows, but he has to put that into practice.
Yeah.
Right. Just by, now he knows Bhagavad Gita, he knows these, or he just becomes like a kathakar or this, that. No, he has to ultimately realize that in his life. Not just remain on the learned platform or an orator platform or a memorizer platform. Ultimately, we have to realize with this example of Mahaprabhu meeting illiterate Brahmana who is just trying to follow the orders of his spiritual master. The spiritual master said, oh, I have to read Bhagavad Gita. He is illiterate. He does not know how to read. But still tears are coming from his eyes because he is trying to follow the orders of his spiritual master. Right. So, though imperfectly, but just if you follow guidance of a higher authority, it will purify oneself. Mrigari the hunter, though imperfectly, so he was doing all this and he followed the orders of Narad Muni. Transformation took place. Right. And we see so many examples. The Bhagavatam is filled with examples like that where Dhruva Maharaj basically went for a material goal. Right. That, oh, how come my father put me aside and my stepmother did not allow me to sit on my father's lap? As a Kshatriya, his blood was boiling. That, oh, I want to perform austerities enough so that I can get the kingdom higher than my great-grandfather. And his great-grandfather is Lord Brahma. Right? Because Kshatriya is higher than great-grandfather. The goal is material. Right? But when he follows it under the guidance of his spiritual master, Narad Muni in that case also met him and told him how to do it. He saw the Supreme Lord. His material goal became completely, insignificant, like a broken pieces of glass. Is that good?
Yeah, Prabhu. And a question which I had,
Yes.
and it's a segue to what was just discussed, Prabhu, is you said that for Krishna, there's no difference in his energy, whether it's internal, external, or marginal.
Yes.
For Krishna.
Yeah.
I mean, for us jivas, there's obviously this understanding and the categorization. Now, his internal, so how I see it is energy is basically the power which lets you do something. That is energy. It lets you do something. Now, when I say do something, I'll call it seva.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever, you're serving yourself or you're serving Krishna. So that's seva. So in one sense, everyone is doing seva to Krishna, either consciously or even if we are rebelling and fighting against Krishna, we are still serving his purpose because he has made this prakriti, this material world, so that we could learn our lesson. So we are sitting in this material world. Problem is we are not learning the lesson immediately. It will take us lifetimes and contact with a devotee or whatever it is. So we are still serving him. Now, even Krishna, seva, Krishna is also serving himself as Lord Balram. He comes to serve seva. Mother Radharani, she's also the pleasure potency and all the time serving the gopis. So if the energy is not different for Krishna, but the service and the pleasure which Krishna derives, that's where the distinction is, correct? So Radharani's pleasure is the highest. Then, the devotees, even in devotees, there are these different categorization of pleasure, so to say, for each rasa that Krishna enjoys. So is that how it means that energy is no difference for him, but the outcome of that energy, the seva, for his pleasure, that is that correct? Or
for him, he is Atmaram. That is fully satisfied. Right. He's fully satisfied. For him, he's fully satisfied. That's why Bhagavan is full with all the 6 opulences. For him, he's fully satisfied. Then there's these energies, right? And then there's this reciprocation, as you mentioned. I mean, there's a reciprocation. The servitor God and the served God, like you mentioned about Lord Balram. The servitor God is Lord Balram. The served God is Krishna, right? Servitor God and served God. So he expands himself to become a servitor to, right? He expands himself to become the servitor. That's his first expansion, right? Similarly, he expands himself, this internal energy expands himself as Srimati Radharani. To then feel the pleasure, right? To feel the pleasure in these mallows sentiments, right? And then we have this entire his Bahirangi Shakti, is external energy of the Supreme Lord, Maya, right? Is external energy of the Supreme Lord, where again just like there's a precedent, and then he divides. So okay, there are those citizens who are following the rules. Let me provide them education. I have schools. But there are those citizens who are rebelling against the rules. But I want to teach them to become better citizens. So, okay, let me form prison houses. But his mood is to make them reform, right? To have a system by which they can reform and become better citizens. Similarly, the rebellious soul, okay, of this material world. Through my expansions, this material world will be formed, where there'll be an opportunity provided to them. If they are not satisfied in just serving me, okay, try it out. Enjoy. You're not satisfied in just, you're not getting that enjoyment in just serving me, try it out. And they try, and that's why this material world is created, and they come under the clutches of this material nature, right? And whatever efforts they do, they fail. But now, false ego, so no, I've not failed. I'll still try. But when they come to the realization that, hey, this is broken pieces of glass, then that reformation comes and brings them back to serving the Supreme Lord. Right? But for himself, is fully satisfied. Right? But then he reciprocates, he extends himself based on a person's surrender. Ye tamam prapadattam tataiva bhajamyaham. Right? I reciprocate according to their level of surrender. To that extent that he reciprocates, that means he himself wants to, as far as his internal energy, Ladini Shakti of Srimati Radharani, that, oh, how come she's getting much more pleasure than me? Though in the mood of serving, separation. he expands himself as Mahaprabhu in that mood. Right? Yeah. Is that okay?
It's already 8 o'clock, Prabhu.
Yes.
Because this all night.
Can-
Someone else has a question, or I don't know. Today is weekend, so I don't know. Simeshwar Prabhu can decide.
No.
Or
Can
what
I
is
have
your
one
schedule?
question?
Yad yad acharati shrestha tat tat avatara janaha. I have to follow the standards. 8 o'clock means 8 o'clock. Otherwise, no, I tell Simeshwar, okay, no, when our meeting starts at 8:15, how come your Bhagavad Gita is still on? Oh, question. If he himself will not follow, then others won't be able to follow.
See that? Blames are coming to me.
But I have to follow.
I'll take that note.
Yes.
Shesha Prabhu, may I have one question? Can I call?
You can talk.
Sorry, Prabhuji.
If it takes only 2 minutes, that's
Oh,
fine.
yes, it is
If
2
it
minutes.
is not beyond, then it's
Oh,
because of devotees based for the call, this same channel, Bhaktarisha. There are some new devotees. When
Yes,
they
yes.
come,
Okay.
don't want to
Sorry.
lose, don't want to miss them,
You can
Yeah.
call me Dattatreya Prabhu. That's
Yeah,
all right.
go ahead, Prajit, just, so that
Okay.
everybody else can hear us. What question?
Okay. Sorry. Hare Krishna Dandavat Pranam. All goes to Srila Prabhupada. Prabhuji, I have one question. Actually, Lord Krishna's expansion is Balaram. Balaram expansion Saturbuho, first quadruple. Then from Shankarshan, it is came Narayan. Then second quadruple is also expandaka from Narayan. And though these are the same name, 4 names, like Vasudev, Shankarshan, Pradyumna, Niruddha, what is the function of the second quadruple? What is the significance of this second quadruple?
Well, from the second quadruple, first of all, comes the Purushas. Right? The Purusha avatar comes from the second quadruple, not from the first quadruple.
No, Purusha avatar came from second quadruple Shankarshana.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
you mean ask about the function. So the second quadruple, they are the ones. First is okay. The first expansion, then the second expansion, even like Lord Ramachandra, comes from the second quadruple. That Sankarshan, Vasudev, Pradyumna, and Aniruddha comes as Lord Ram, Lakshman, Bharat and Shatrughan from the second quadruple. The Purusha avatars comes from the second quadruple. From the Maha Sankarshan comes the Purusha avatar.
Yeah, second quadruple Shankarshana, from second quadruple Shankarshana, then Mahavishnu came, then Karana, and then Garbhadakshay Vishnu, then Shiradakshay. Yeah, so that is the expansion of from the second quadruple Shankarshana.
Yeah. So
Mahasankarshan.
is that good? You have 2-minute question?
Yeah. The one aspect of it, actually, one is the mentality for spiritual. The second is the cause for the material. That I think Bhaktichari Maharaj is also mentioned the same. The second quadruple is actually also expanded in Dwaraka, that same Vasudev. And then, like that. There was one Maharaj was mentioning one time. It's all aspects of it. Okay.
Prabhu, let's expand on Friday to 6 o'clock instead of starting 7. That way we'll get 1 hour.
Yeah, 6:30 to no. Actually, we okay. We almost have.
I'm just making depends on everybody's convenience.
Yes,
Like myself, Today I was working from home, but otherwise on Friday when I go to work, 6 o'clock, I'm not even back.
On the wheels, maybe.
I'm on the wheels.
Yeah, I think it's.
But-
I think
Prabhuji?
Time up. But,
Saturdays
there-
also we have one, pretty much long hours. Probably we can also expand this to the Saturdays instead of Fridays. I would suggest that. So that
okay.
okay, so
Hare
let's
Krishna.
conclude. Hare Krishna. Let's pay our obeisance to all the Vaishnava devotees of the Lord. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha patitanam pavanebhyo
वैष्णवेभ्यो नमः वैष्णववृंद की जय
Jai.
So, one
भगवद
quick
गीता से
announcement.
Jai.
Those who still think that they have questions in their mind, they can still note it down in the Nityam Bhagavata Sevya. We can
Correct.
respond there.
Yeah.
Yeah, or can call me or yeah. Okay. Hare Krishna.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, everybody.
Thank you, Madhupati Prabhu. Hari Bol.
थैंक यू Madhupati Prabhuji. Thank you everyone.
Hare
Hare
Krishna.